Well, here we are then, Mike. Thanks a lot
Yep.
for seeing me, and it's nice to meet you after all this time.
Really nice to meet
Because
you.
you know I've been
Yes.
trying
So you
to...
tracked me down.
It's good of you to do this because
Yeah.
you're a bit of a recluse and you've actually turned down lots of requests to do interviews and things like this, haven't you?
It's not really that I'm a recluse. It's just that it was just so long ago. It's like now 33 years since I left the band, and it's another lifetime, and I don't really have much. It's only when people like yourself come and talk to me about it, that I get reminded of it.
Right.
But I've moved on and different things are happening to my life.
You
now.
certainly have, yeah, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, I only really got to know of you when you were in ELO. But
Yeah.
for those that might be interested, myself included,
Yeah.
tell us about your childhood and how you got into the music business. And
Okay. I was born in Ealing, in London, West London, and I had some influence. There were a few influential people in my life musically. Well, the cello was always, there was a cello that was destined to be mine because it was at my home, and it was sitting in our front room on a kind of a shelf above the fireplace, and it was just sitting there forever. And my father had played it, but he didn't. I never heard him play it. But it wasn't until I was 12 that I was large enough. Because I'm quite small. I'm actually only 5'4", so I'm quite small in stature, So it took me till 12. Nowadays, if you start playing the cello, they have 16th size cellos, quarter size or 8th size. So you get 3-year-olds, 3 or 4-year-olds getting dinky little cellos.
Yeah.
But it's only in the last sort of 25 years that's been, or 20 years really, that's been happening. Anyway, getting off the subject. So, where at my school, there was a very influential teacher for me, who, in fact, later in life moved to Devon separately from me, and we ended up living in one town, which is close to where I live now, and we were just 300 yards apart from where we were living, and it was very nice to meet him and do some playing with him and things with him. But he was my music master at school. He was also took the choir in the school, and he ran the local youth orchestra, and so those things I got involved with. And I was very lucky in the school. I was in the choir, and I got to do some wonderful things. I sang in a choir with Benjamin Britten.
really,
Yeah, and I sang in a very prestigious St Matthew Passion by Bach in the centre of town, and I was in a couple of operas on television.
right?
I was on and it's very strange to look back at that and see that there was all these things that just happened. They were just I didn't have to do anything very much and they just happened along. And then I went started the cello, and my first cello teacher was a viola player. And anybody who's a string player would know that if you can't teach the cello by being a viola player. So I had a bad start, but it got better because I found a really, really good teacher, and she really helped me. And cello was one of the mainstays of my life, and obviously it's really stayed with me for all this time. In fact, just a little story, the first cello I had, it was actually sold. I wanted to get a better cello, even though I really enjoyed this cello. I wanted to get a better one when I was studying. I went to the Royal Academy of Music in 1968, and I wanted to get a better cello, and I did get one. And the prices, it's incredible. You nowadays you wouldn't think that you'd get a cello. I paid £125 for my cello. And, that's incredible. That cello would be worth £7,000 like now. Anyway, I digress. But where was I? Oh yes, no, I was just telling you about this cello. This very cello but my first cello was bought by the wife of this teacher that I was telling you about.
Oh.
And she had the cello and she was living 300 yards away. And then later she moved to Canada and she didn't want to take the cello with her. So she came to me and said, find a home for this cello. It was my very first cello. And that sort of came back to me. It's kind of a very strange sort of event, really.
And have you only ever played the cello, or do you play other instruments as well?
I do play the bass viol or viola da gamba, and I also play. It's a family of instruments that like the cello is held between the legs, but it's got frets on and it's got a flat back, and it's used for early music. And I also play the treble viol, and I play the piano a bit.